Hello, everyone. I'm Miss Pognon. I hope that you had a wonderful first week of math instruction, and I'm really excited to get into the second week of math. I realized that last week for some students may have been really challenging, but you all did a really nice job. I promise you that this week will be challenging, yes, but it will be a little easier to manage and I think to pick up. So I'm really excited to get started. Place value is really important, as I said before. So the fact that you have a basic understanding at this point is really going to help us move along with this week's lessons. So our objective this week is I can read, write, and compare multi-digit whole numbers through 9,999,999. So numbers can be expressed in many different ways. The most common way is probably standard form. We're used to seeing numbers spelled out using the digits. So what I mean by that is all of the examples here in blue. So for the first one, we have 3, 4, 5, 6. That reads 3,456. We also have 86184. That reads 86,184. And 752,910. And that reads 752,910. So whenever you see numbers written out in this way, we call that standard form. Word form or written form, note that these mean the same thing, okay, are also another way to express numbers. And this is exactly as it sounds, okay? You're using words to communicate, to express the number. So 3,456 for this first example. Now let's look at expanded form, which is one of my favorite ways to express numbers. And I think that you're also going to have fun with it. Let's look at this third number here, 752,910. In the word expanded, you can pick up expand, okay, or to break down. So whenever we are writing numbers out in expanded form, what we're really doing is breaking down each digit in that number by place value. So here we have 700,000 because this 700,000 comes from the fact that the 7 is in the 100,000s place, okay, plus 50,000. So the 5 is in the 10,000s place, plus 2,000. You guessed it if you said that the 2 is in the thousands place. 900. So the 9 is in the hundreds place, plus 10. The 1 is in the tens place, and there's no value in the ones place, right? There's a 0. So we don't have to necessarily write plus 0 there because it isn't going to change our answer. Once we add each of these expanded form parts, we're going to have our total number, okay? Our number here in standard form. I want to say one thing, and one thing that's really important to note. Notice that once you start at the ones place, there is no 0 at the end, right? Once you go on to the tens place, there's 1 0 because the number 10 has a 0 in it. Plus 100, in this case here with the second example, 2 zeros. 6,000 would have 3 zeros. 80,000, 4 zeros, and so on and so forth. So every time you go to the left, right, you're getting larger by 10 whole times. So that idea that we talked about last week. And use a place value chart to help you. Remember that each digit takes up 1 space on the place value chart. Moving along, we're also going to be comparing numbers during this week. Least to greatest, you'll be hearing a lot and we'll be using a lot. That really just means smallest to biggest, okay? The other way around, greatest to least, is exactly that, biggest to smallest. So here are some examples to help you kind of see what I mean by that. On the first line, the numbers are getting larger. They're getting bigger. They're getting greater. Okay. On the second line, greatest to least, that means that we start with the largest number and we end up with the smallest number in the set of numbers given. While we're going to be using these terms and comparing numbers, we're also going to be doing that using symbols. I know that you're already familiar with some of these symbols, but we're going to be using them as well this year. We have greater than, equal to, and less than. So greater than looks like a 7, right? That always helps me. It looks like a 7. Less than looks like a 4, okay? So try to keep that in mind because I know that sometimes this can be a little bit confusing. So here we have, right, kind of looks like a 4, and here it kind of looks like a 7. So this tells us that the number where the I guess the mouth of the shark is open is greater. So in the example 269,279, we can see that this number is greater than 269,154. How do we know this? How are we able to figure this out? Notice the numbers or the digits that are underlined, right? So we have a 2 here. 2 is greater than 1. So that tells us that this first number is greater than this second number. The digits in the hundred thousands place, the 10,000s place, and the thousands place are the same, right? They are the same on both sides. So we have to keep going until we find one number that is larger, and that's what's going to tell us which of the two numbers or multiple numbers is the larger number. And we read this as 269,278 is greater than 269,154. With less than, it's the same exact idea. You're looking to find which digit is the smallest, okay? Which digit is the smallest is going to help you in determining which number is the smallest. So here we have in the 10,000s place, the digits are the same, right? 1 and 1. So we're going to keep going. Now we have 1 and 6. 6 is greater than 1. So this tells us that 11,158 is less than 16,872. So I'm hoping that this is making sense. And our last big concept that we're going to be discussing and learning about during this unit, or excuse me, during this week, is regrouping and renaming numbers. When we regroup, what we're really doing is exchanging the amounts of equal, I must say equal, because it's important to know and to keep in mind. The values have to be equal in order for us to rename numbers. Looking at these numbers, they're really numbers. So looking at these numbers here, all of them are the same. All of them give us the same value. Starting with the ones place, we need 57,000 ones in order to have 57,000. We need 5,700 tens in order to have 57,000. We also need 570 hundreds in order to make 57,000. And finally, we need 57 thousands to have 57 thousands. Notice that, right, the more or the bigger the number, So what I mean by that is, 1 second here, right? So the bigger the number here, the smaller the place value. We need more ones in order to come up with this number. We need this many ones, okay? We're going to need less tens because tens are more than ones, okay? So we're going to need 10 times less tens in order to get 57,000, and so on and so forth. So an excellent tool to use when we're regrouping is, again, our handy dandy place value chart, because it's going to let us know how many jumps we need to make. Remember, the more left we go, or one jump to the left, 10 whole times larger. So I hope that this was useful. I hope that it was helpful. And I'm sure that you are going to find a lot of success this week. If you need more clarity or if something is unclear, do not hesitate to reach out to your students, to your child's teacher. We look forward to a great week, and I will see you on the next video. Bye-bye.